Hello everybody, welcome to Bad Big Games. I'm your host Joseph. Today, hell is certainly frozen over because we're going to be talking about the PlayStation Classic Console. What is it? Is it worth it? Or is this just another case of Sony chasing a trend? So with that said, Future Joe, start the show. Guys, we're living in the strangest timeline. Like, Mario Kart's trending for the wrong reasons. I can't look at Toad the same way ever again. And now I woke up today and I'm like, there is no way that this news is real.
You are fake news.
And I had to go, I went on Kotaku, I went on Polygon, I went on the PlayStation blog, and I still really couldn't believe it. Sony has announced the PlayStation Classic. And before I talk about what I feel on the console, I have to talk about why this thing exists and what exactly this console is. So let's get straight into it, shall we? What is a PlayStation Classic? And the PlayStation Classic is exactly what you think of when you hear the name. Think of the NES Classic, think of the SNES Classic. This is Sony's take on the retro mini consoles that you're seeing everyone do since Nintendo really popularized it. So right off the bat, this console is a small miniaturized PlayStation with 20 preloaded games. The weird thing is they've only announced 5 so far, one being the one we see the most in the trailer, Final Fantasy VII, Jumping Flash, Ridge Racer Type 4, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms. It will come with 2 PlayStation Classic controllers, not the original DualShock controllers with the analog or the rumble, just the classic no analog, no rumble controllers. It will retail for $99 US and it will launch on December 3rd of this year. So that's what the PlayStation console is. Why though? And why this console exists, I think, are for 2 main reasons. Numero uno reason is that they've seen the success of the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, and they want a piece. They see how successful Nintendo was with launching their mini consoles, and they look at the PlayStation, and remember, people like to forget just because the PlayStation 4 is so popular that PlayStation has been around since the 90s. It's almost 25 years old, if not 25 at this point, and that console sold over 100 million units worldwide. The PlayStation 1 in the 90s sold over 100 million units. That's crazy. So Sony's thinking there has to be some bleed over, right? There has to be some people that miss the old school nostalgia, or hardcore fans that will hop on this because of the love of PlayStation, just like how hardcore fans hopped on the NES and the SNES Classic. There has to be some bleed over of the classic audience with the hardcore audience, and that's why this thing exists. Yeah, it's blatantly copying Nintendo. It's not ashamed of doing it. You even see it has the same name because it kind of wants to trick average consumers of thinking it's in the same ballpark as these 2 consoles that sold like crazy. And I think the second main reason is Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, the Insane Trilogy sold like gangbusters, and I don't think neither Sony nor Activision thought that that remaster was going to sell the way it did. I mean, Sony thought this would be a nice get for fans to relive their nostalgia, but Activision was even surprised that this game sold as well as it did. It told stockholders that it was going to look into a possible future of Crash because of this Insane Trilogy. I saw people buy PlayStations just for this game, and I know that's crazy to you as it is crazy to me. Some people just want to watch the world burn, but hey, whatever floats your boat. I saw people pick up PlayStations for this. So if that is the same logic, it must apply to this PlayStation Classic system as well. So now, am I going to be buying it? Is it worth it? Because right now, I see a lot of people judging its worth because of A, its price, rightfully so, and B, no DualShock, and C, they just think this is a blatant copy from Nintendo. And with that, I think it's $99 for a reason. A, of course, they want to make as much profit as they can off of this system, but also understand that a lot of games on the PS1 era that were exclusive, Sony didn't own the IP to. They didn't own Final Fantasy VII, right? That's Square's. A lot of games like Ridge Racer is not a Sony-owned property. Tekken is definitely not a Sony-owned property. A lot of people chose PlayStation over Nintendo at the time because it was cheaper to make games and Sony was treating them better than Nintendo did at the time. And so that's why you saw so many exclusives on PlayStation. That's why that PlayStation has such a rich library of amazing games. And so Sony has to go to these publishers and these developers and license out these games. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is on every single console, no demand. It's on your phone. It's probably on your toaster if you try hard enough. And guess what? Sony or Square's not going to give that to Sony for free. Right? They're not going to say, hey, since we're good friends, here it is. No, it costs money. Things cost money to put on a system, believe it or not. Even Tekken, even Ridge Racer, even Wild Arms and Jump Flash cost money to put on PlayStation. So with that, that's why the console is $99. It's because of all the licensing fees and because they want to make a boatload of cash. I see a lot of people complaining that there's no DualShock original controller on here, the analog and the rumble controller. That's because it's just not many games use that controller. Remember, that came out mid-generation, mid-life cycle, and not every game supported the rumble or supported the analog sticks, as crazy as that is. So what Sony wanted was a controlled experience where you get the same experience on every single game. If one game used analog sticks and one didn't, an average consumer would think that something's wrong with their system, right? Not everybody is in the know like us. So I understand, and I actually think that's a reasonable thing for Sony to do, is say, you know what, DualShock? Nah, no DualShock yet. What maybe I would like to see is maybe they come out with an accessory that is the DualShock controller, and like inside of it is actually like a little memory card that has games that play the DualShock controller games. That would be pretty rad. That would be something I would like to see. But other than that, I understand why it's not there. My last thing is seeing a lot of people going, Sony's just hopping on the bandwagon. Sony's always copying Nintendo. And I love you Nintendo people who are saying these things. It's not everybody, because a lot of my audience is Nintendo fans, and you guys are sane. But to the insane people out there, you know, just last week, you guys were complaining that Nintendo wasn't like PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, that Nintendo wasn't copying Xbox and PlayStation. So it's really great to see so many people being hypocrites out there on the internet and complaining why in one aspect Sony or Nintendo isn't copying Xbox and they should, and when PlayStation does it, it's wrong. I don't get that one. I really don't get that argument, and I think it's silly. Yes, I get it. It's maybe a little bit too on the nose, but it is what it is. For me personally, am I going to buy it? I need to see more games. I would love to see OG Crash. I would love to see OG Spyro. Gex, the motherfucking gecko. Put it on the... If I get Gex, I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is it. I'm getting this. There are certain games I need to see. Siphon Filter, I don't know if that's a DualShock game, but dude, I remember playing that at my grandma's house. And back in the day, we did not have memory cards or anything like that. So we would be playing like the same 5 levels every weekend. We would sometimes leave the PlayStation on over the week, hoping that nobody noticed it was on so that we continue playing the game. As crazy as that sounds, until one day, yes, we did get a memory card. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's what I think of this console. I think, yes, is it a bit overpriced? Yeah, but all the consoles are like Nintendo NES Classic, Nintendo SNES Classic, they're both overpriced. This is definitely overpriced, but it's not meant for me, maybe. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below. What are some games that you would like to see? Are you down on this console? Are you going to get this thing day one? Where are you on this console? Let me know in the comment section down below. There are no wrong answers here at Bad Big Games, where we talk about every single thing gaming. It's what I love. We talk about Xbox, we talk about PlayStation, we talk about Nintendo, we talk about all things gaming, whether it's rants, news, impressions, unboxings, we do it all here. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, if you like that, hit like, share, subscribe, keep your wits about you, and have a nice one.